Go. Good. Hi, Lena.
Hi.
We're going to put you on the rider for your first time. And it's real simple. What I want you to do, I want you to put a hand on one end and swing a leg over and mount it just like you would a horse. Okay? Reach and be on the balls of your feet. Stay on your feet, and we're going to get you centered. So move up a little bit. And I see, do you feel pretty centered there? Yeah, pretty good. Come over to me about a ½ inch. There you go. Now, what we're going to do here is keep your feet on the ground for me. See that laser light behind you? Now what you to do is basically keep it in that general area. That means the unit's parallel and level to the ground. Okay? We're going to do that with our feet off the ground. So, what's happening here is that movement and those contractions, all your spinal stabilizers, your core muscles. What you're familiar with your core muscles. They're doing all the balancing because we've taken your ankles, your knees, and your hips, your legs, out of the balancing situation. Put it right on your seat bone, right? So from your hips up to your lower rib cage, they're doing, that's where your spinal stabilizers are, they're doing all the contractions. Okay? So, what we want to do is, again, feel the unit basically parallel to the ground, that little wobble that you feel, that kind of tells you that you're level to the ground. And everything you learned as a horseman all these years grown up, so you want to relax, kind of sink into the unit, because if you stay tense, you basically can't balance, just like on the back of a horse. They've always told you to be nice, nice, and nice and balanced. It's all right to laugh. I mean, it is exercise. You are allowed to laugh. Everybody's, you might be a little psycho, laughing at exercise. But you want to basically find yourself in your center and just be as calm and quiet as possible.
I think I do better without the laser. I'm doing it by feel. Okay.
Don't look at it. You don't necessarily need to look at it. You just want to stay as level as possible. And relax, relax, relax. Okay? And as you're looking forward, you're looking at that laser, you got to realize it's probably going to move right to left some. Not a big deal. But we're trying to keep it from up and down. Make that as basically quiet and calm as possible. Okay? The spinal stabilizers are kicking in. They're doing the balancing. It's all about holding it as quiet and as calm as possible.
Got it. Okay, so now tell me the difference between this and some of the other things that I've been looking at, because I've been looking for about 2 years on something that's going to help me with my Riders Fitness program for myself and for potential clients. I'm a massage therapist and a yoga instructor, and so I want to incorporate that. And I was researching and looking online. I did find a few items. One is quite pricey. The other one is ballpark. The one keeps my feet on the ground. The other one is that it goes with you initiating the movement. So tell me why this might be different.
First and foremost, what makes Balance Rider unique is that your feet are up off the ground.
And I'm putting mine on the ground right now because this is giving me a workout. All right.
So we're going to get your feet up. So your feet come up and off the ground, so when we take your legs out, it's all about your core strength. All those spinal stabilizers are doing all the work. So other items are out there. Good items. Recommend that, if you want to have it, if you had all the room in the world, everything's fine. But if you're talking about efficiency, you want to do it the most efficient way to work those stabilizers, those spinal stabilizers, that core muscles, is we got to get our feet up off the ground. We got to sit on our seat. We got to make it so we can't use our legs, where everything's concentrated in all that all important 12 inches from your hips to that first rib cage, that lower rib.
So on the principles of Pilates, because a lot of the Pilates exercises, they're also raising the feet and using the core. Except when you're on the mat.
Absolutely.
Which doesn't assimilate. I mean, hopefully it's not assimilating your horse riding. Because if you're on the ground doing the Pilates, you're not on your horse.
There's not quite as much movement. This is all about movement and holding and letting your body, the muscles fire to keep you in balance. Where the other item that you're talking about, when you initiate a movement and it's repetitive over and over and over and over again, quite quickly your brain catches on that it anticipates the movement that needs to happen.
That makes sense.
So it just kind of goes in the flow and is always one step ahead of the movement, kind of pulling it along, right?
I would say yes.
Where this is all reactionary. Basically, it moves due to your imbalance, and now you have to contract in a totally random way to bring it back to balance. So it's totally random. It's not in line. It's all directions.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things is that it's behind the movement. You're always behind, reacting and catching up and making the unit come to balance, and you're never ahead of it. So if this had a predictable movement to it, your brain would very quickly adjust, and it would say, okay, I know this is coming up, so I'm preparing myself for it. I already know what's going to happen. This, you never know what direction it's going to go.
So your neural system system is actually having to work out with your core.
Right. It's always behind.
Yeah.
So you're always having to catch up, and the idea is to catch up quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. So there's less and less and less adjustments. But there'll always be movement, no matter what. For your core to be working, basically balance is dynamic. So it means that there's always contractions going on. There's always going to be some small imperceptible movement. If there's no movement, then you're not balancing. You're resting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay?
So, what is my plan then for this? You're going to
sit on it. You're going to start by getting the unit, putting it somewhere in your home, comfortable, where you can maybe put it in front of a TV, put it someplace where you can read a book, because we ultimately want to be able to do all this balancing without our thought process. We want to disengage our brain. We want the body to take over and it to do all the balancing, okay, through your core system, okay? So put it in the living room, put it someplace where you can disengage your brain, you can get used to it and balance on it. Start 5 minutes a night, you add a minute a night until you get to the point where you can sit on it for 20 to 30 minutes real comfortably, and it's almost second nature. You're not thinking at all about it.
Okay.
And don't fall off.
Okay, and so what's the day, how long would it take for me to maybe reach that level?
Well, really,
I mean, it'll vary
it varies.
Yeah.
It varies. You could end up, starting at 5 minutes a night and adding a minute and get to 30 and still be very unbalanced. I would imagine most people won't. It may take anywhere from 30 to 60 days to get real comfortable with the unit and get it to the point where it's not moving really all over the place, and you've got to control.
Feel like you got to kind of nail. So then, is there another part of this? I mean, have you figured out, or do you have a
Yeah, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you because those are all top secret.
Yeah.
Let's start. And one of the reasons I say that jokingly is
Yeah.
I want you to create the foundation.
Okay.
I want you to not jump ahead. I want you to really concentrate on being able to sit on it, control it. It almost seems too good to true. You're just going to sit, relax, and let your muscles respond.
So the goal is to get this done and be effortless and actually have it being second nature.
Yep. Right, exactly. And that's what I call mastering level 1. And once you've done that,
All right.
we'll talk some more, and we'll talk more about level 2, okay?
Okay.
All right. Cut.